What's going on, Port fans? Welcome back to another video on my channel, and today we're going to be reviewing the preliminary final between Port Adelaide and Richmond. Unfortunately, we went down by a goal in what was probably one of the better prelims you'll see in a while in terms of pressure and intensity around the footy, and unfortunately Port Adelaide came off second best, and it's been a tough couple of days to swallow that pill, and we've had some time to think about it over the weekend, and that's why I didn't put out a review straight away. It was to digest the result and really think about and reflect on what's not only been a pretty great season, but also a pretty sad ending to what has been, as I said, a great season. So we'll review the game, see where we went wrong, and we'll have a look at what will happen next for Port Adelaide in the coming weeks, and also get ready for what's going to be a pretty eventful grand final between Richmond and Geelong. So let's get into this review of Port Adelaide versus Richmond, the 2020 preliminary final.
Lycett had a good look, tapped forward by Rockcliffe, Butters spreads it, Rosie's kicked one, he's kicked a couple in a prelim at 20 years of age.
As you can see, it's taken a lot of energy and a lot of a lot to get myself up and about to do this review, and it's almost got a heartbreaking feel of 2017 elimination final about it. Obviously this time we had a chance to get into a grand final, and we were just beaten by a side that's been to finals before. They had finals experience and they knew exactly what they were doing, and when it came to that crunch moment, and Lambert, I think it was Lambert that kicked the goal. Was it Lambert? I'm not sure. But anyway, they kicked that goal, they put themselves in front, and then delivered out of bounds. Richmond just took their chances when they needed to, and they had 6 more scoring shots in the end. And unfortunately, even though we had less scoring shots, we still had chances to put ourselves in a position where we could have won the game. And I think when Charlie Dixon had that set shot from 50 out and slotted it, I genuinely believed that we were either going to run away with it or we'd have the momentum to continue on and keep ourselves in the game, and keep ourselves ahead. And it didn't work out. Obviously, throughout the night it was just quite wet, quite slippery, and we couldn't use the ball as cleanly. We had plenty more inside 50s, just going at, I think it was a 20% conversion rate or something like that. To have 10 scoring shots from about 45 inside 50s or something like that. I genuinely believed we were the better team in terms of the first half, and we just couldn't quite utilise our forward 50 entries, and that's been a problem for quite a while. Richmond, on the other hand, simply just turned it on in the second half, and they absolutely dominated the midfield area. And while Wines was gallant, Boak did bits and pieces. I thought the midfield as a collective weren't quite in it together. And we can dissect the game all we want. We're not going to get next week, but in saying that, we had moments where we should have probably utilised the ruck dominance that we had with Lycett and Laddams just killing Nankervis, and to have our clearances lose yet win the hit-outs convincingly, that tells a story that whilst Lycett was doing the job and Laddams was doing the job, we just didn't. Richmond were clearly smarter in the middle. They played to lose the ruck in the end, and that's why their midfield turned it on. Dusty was sensational, and Trent Cotchin did his part. Jack Graham, I thought, had a really good influence. Just Prestia, Bolton, they all stood up, Richmond, and they played as a team. And I think Port Adelaide sort of lost that a bit. They sort of played in their sections of the ground, and when the midfield went into the forward 50 for us, it just fell apart at certain times. And to have, I think, 4 marks inside 50 for the night, even though it was wet, it's tough, isn't it? It's a tough pill to swallow, and I'm sure every Port fan feels the same. And I'm sure every Richmond fan is rejoicing the fact that they're into their third grand final in 4 years, and no doubt will go in favourites. You've just knocked off a team that's been sitting on top of the ladder the whole year, played at their home ground in front of the fans, and you get the job done. And speaking of the fans, 27,000, that's an exceptional effort in circumstances where, it was quite wet. It was not the type of conditions you'd expect us all to turn up in, and we did, and we were loud, we were proud. Never Tear Us Apart was awesome. The chants all around throughout the game were sensational, and I think we can hold our heads pretty high as fans that we did our job on the night. And there's other jobs on the night you could probably blame a little bit, and I'm not going to blame the umpires for one. I thought whilst their decisions were questionable, they were consistent throughout the night. We did win the free kick count, so I'm not going to complain too much about that. And I'm not going to blame it for the result, because no doubt it didn't have much of an impact in the end. I think certain decisions didn't go either way for teams, and holding the ball was certainly a question mark in the game at the moment. But in saying that, Richmond were just quality, and to have little moments like that deliberate out of bounds in the last quarter from Hartlett, which probably doesn't get paid sometimes when you've got your teammates around. But it gets paid in a prelim, and then you've got, Charlie Dixon's getting manhandled with 3 on him all night, and there's just certain times where you just thought Port Adelaide were going to break away, and they didn't. And there's certain factors that play into this. I think the weather was definitely one. We expected to play a dry weather game, and I think the conditions it did rain. It was expected to rain on the day, but I think a couple of days earlier it wasn't particularly in sight for it to be as heavy or as wet as it was. So we were prepared as a dry weather game. And I think our mindset sort of changed a little bit when it was wet. I don't think the stage, we didn't get any stage fright. I don't think that was the case. I think it was more so that we just didn't quite deliver on a game plan that stands up against the better teams, and it stood up against Geelong in the qualifying final, stood up against Richmond earlier in the year, and it probably stood up on prelim night, but it just didn't get executed the way we'd like. And Richmond were smart enough with their defenders of Grimes, and Bolter was sensational, and Dixon, they were just a little bit smarter, and they were that scrappy play that Richmond like to do. That's why they're wet weather specialists, and we've just got to learn and develop that a little bit more. A couple of moments that sort of stood out for me that I sort of had the feeling of, hang on, we're probably not going to get this done, and it was as early as the first quarter. Todd Marshall's chance in front of goal. You hit that, you're goal up straight away, the crowd is in it, you get momentum. Probably a sign of Todd Marshall's confidence at the moment. Robbie Gray, his snap on the outside of the boot, 20 metres out, you normally expect him to kick those, and he just shanks it off the boot. The third quarter, Travis Boak gets a set shot directly in front, and he kicks it out on the full. A leader like Boak, 99 times out of 100 kicks those, and he's done it before in the past, and he just didn't deliver on the night in that circumstance. And it's just a what if game. What if this happened? What if we did this? What if Westhoff played? It's just all those factors, and unfortunately the what ifs cancel each other out in the end, because the what if doesn't exist. There's one other negative from the night that I think in more so is a sad negative. It's Brad Ebert announcing his retirement. And what a way to go out. I mean, Brad Ebert's courage, his willfulness, and his commitment to every contest, either going back with the flight, going into a pack, his hard tackling.
Time here, good kick to the right side of Jack. Oh, well played, Ebert. Got back against the flow and running it over.
He's probably been our best finals player this year, I reckon. He stood up when the moments counted, and it was just unfortunate to see the way he had to go out. It's the best way you could go out in terms of you're going at the footy, you're going to 110% and you get knocked out, knowing that this was probably your last year. Whilst it's a bit crazy, there's nothing but respect there. That's the most courageous thing you'll see on a football field. Someone go on the back of the flight to save your team from conceding a goal. Mackenzie was done for. Rewalt was going to get that mark quite easily. And Brad Ebert, well, he stood up. And unfortunately, we didn't get the result to create a fairy tale for him next week. But I just want to say a massive congratulations to Brad Ebert on his footballing career. There will be some flowing tributes that I will do on this channel for both Westhoff and Brad Ebert in the coming weeks. We'll get you guys involved as well, so that would be greatly appreciated if you could do that. But yeah, massive congratulations. And it's a real sad time to see two Warriors head out the way they did. Westhoff didn't get another game when he announced his retirement, and Brad Ebert going out the way he did is just super courageous, and you tip your hat to the two Warriors of Port Adelaide. And another congratulations to our man, Travis Boak. He finished second in the Brownlow medal last night. And we just want to say a massive congratulations on a super season from Trav. He's been awesome. So, yeah, we've had some highlights this year, and certainly ones that we will remember. But unfortunately, our season is done, and we move into grand final week. Not planning for a game, but I'm sure Richmond versus Geelong will be an absolute belter. Thank you so much for watching this review of Port Adelaide versus Richmond in the prelim final. It's sad, it's heartbreaking, but we've got a good crop of players, and I reckon we're building for a bigger 2021. So get ready for another super year under Ken Hinkley, because he's done a superb job this year, and all the boys will definitely be wanting more. I can assure you of that. So thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new for plenty more Port Adelaide and AFL content. My name is Anthony, and as always, can the pair.